The Secrets of Stargate is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
You're listening to The Secrets of Stargate, episode 54.
Janet West, Jackson has identified the seventh symbol.
All right, here we go. We are about to try to make a connection.
All we gotta do is bust out of here, commandeer the ship, and fly on home.
Indeed. You say that a lot.
I know that this could be dangerous. But this is our job, right? It's what we signed on to do.
It was never about going home. It's about getting us to where we're going.
Hi, I'm Jack Baruzzini, and you're listening to The Secrets of Stargate, where I talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. And joining me today are Father Cory Sticha. Hi, Father.
Howdy, Jack.
And Lisa Jones. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Jack.
And Victor Lamb. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Jack.
Today we're discussing the 12th episode of Season 3, Jolinar's Memory. You want to give us a quick synopsis of this, Victor?
Sure do. Basically, the Tok'ra visit the SGC and tell SG-1 to go straight to hell. Sam's dad and leader of the Tok'ra, Jacob/Selmak, has been captured by Sokar while performing an intel mission on the Goa'uld Sokar's Hell Moon Nitu, or Natu, depending on who you ask, across the two episodes. This is especially urgent because Sokar is way more powerful than anyone thought and could take over the galaxy at any moment. The only person to have ever escaped from Natu was the Tok'ra Jolinar, who is Martouf's former wife and Sam's former headspace mate. Believing Sam to have knowledge of how to break Jacob out of Nitu, Martouf uses the Tok'ra memory device on her, and it has unpredictable results. After a short cargo ship ride, with Teal'c staying behind as the getaway wheelman, Martouf and the rest of SG-1 take drop pods down to the surface and are immediately captured and thrown into the pit. And it's just the pit. Sam remembers that Jolinar was able to escape as a result of her liaison with Sokar's Goa'uld Warden of Nitu, the hulking yet lovable oaf Bynnar. Sam is almost able to work her feminine wiles on Bynnar when the big galoot is shot from behind by his first prime Neonac, who takes off his helmet to reveal that he is really dun-dun-dun Robot Apophis.
Ropophis.
Ropophis.
We end with a to be continued. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this episode, Father Cory?
This is a good one. It's of course for as big of a story it is, they really didn't do much with the sets. I mean, you had the spaceship set that they've used before. You've got literally a pit in the ground that they're buried in, and that's about it. I mean, there's not a lot there. I mean, they obviously they tried to tell a big story in with very cheap special effects, including, of course, the stock footage of lava flowing from, I think, like Hawaii or something in one room, that kind of deal. But no, I like this story. I like this one. Of course, they play up the Satan and hell imagery as much as they can too. And yeah, it's okay. It's a good one.
I was disappointed by the lack of thrash metal in the soundtrack, though, gotta say.
Yeah. No AC/DC talking about a certain highway.
It does drive home that in the afterlife, you could be headed for some serious strife.
Yeah.
To all my Squirrel Nut Zipper fans out there, yes. And they're
the deep cut. Right?
Yeah.
And we know that Jack thinks he's going to end up in hell because he says, end up there sooner or later. Might as well check out the neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a good line. What about you, Lisa?
I like the way they did the big reveal at the end. If you notice, Peter Williams didn't have any credits at the beginning. And so they did keep it a secret, at least in, 20-something years ago in the original. And I like the return of Martouf. I like the return of Jacob Carter. I do find Martouf a little creepy. That's just the, damn Jack Chip person in me, but I find him creepy. No, I thought it was a great exploration. They had so much fun, like you said, with this being hell and how much they were going to suffer and how hot it was. And but I liked it. I liked that it was a two-parter because you didn't know it was going to be a two-parter, right? It wasn't a part one and a part two. So they're escaping. Oh no! So I thought it was a good. We don't have a lot of cliffhangers in early Stargate, and so I thought that was a really nice way to keep you on the seat, edge of your seat until the next week. Back when we had to wait a whole week.
Yeah. What about you, Victor?
Yeah, I like it too, and I actually like the set design. It looks like some sort of like weird Los Angeles like martini bar lounge type thing. it's like the Hell Lounge or something. Like, in Binar's chambers, you have like this backdrop where the control panel for the ring transporters is located. And there's like all these like mud flap silhouettes of like devil girls, and I was like, that would make like an awesome like headboard for a bed or something. But no, and yeah, I mean, Martooth is super creepy in this one. Like, if someone came at me like he did with those nose hair clippers, I would tell him to like step off, bro. But yeah, no, there's a lot going on in here, and I hadn't watched this episode in so many years that I actually forgot this was the one that Apophis comes back in. So I was actually, when he took off the helmet, I was like, oh, it's Apophis. This is the one where Apophis comes back in. But, it would have been like, if I was seeing this for the first time, it would have been like, as I did probably once, it was a pretty good reveal. Yeah.
Yeah. And now remember, Martooth is Marty.
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 He's Marty until
Never
we get a Marty.
Tash, just Marty.
Yeah, I agree with you, Lisa, about Martooth. He just comes across as very clingy and possessive and a little bit whiny. I got Anakin Skywalker vibes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's kind of like, you have my girlfriend's ex-girlfriend's used like old car. Therefore, you're my girlfriend now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't actually know you, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna call you mine, and
yeah.
I'm totally not just crushing on you still, even though the person that I really was in love with is dead.
Right. I really don't know you at all, but hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit desperate. Yeah, I like how this episode kind of brings in the full cheese factor with the going to hell sets and everything. Like, they just make it very literal. So that was a lot of fun to see. Kind of that almost like fantasy, like combined with science fiction that they do here. So that was a lot of fun, where they just went with it completely, and it was just completely literal.
Who's the guy that built like the Noah Art theme park? Was that like Ken Ham or something? Like, this would be this would be like the Hell theme park he might like build.
That's what he would build underneath it. Yeah.
Did you like?
Yeah.
Along with the sounds, the moaning and the screaming in the background constantly.
Yep.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of.
Part of me thinks.
It reminded me a lot of.
Thinks that Binar just. Oh, good.
Oh yeah, it just reminded me a lot of like the first season Futurama episode, where Bender goes to Robot Hell, and it's like this old amusement park, underground amusement park, and there's like the robot devil and stuff, and yeah, it was very much like that level of which is good because I was watching it with my kids, and if it was like actually like a real hell dimension, probably like the guys like in leather suits, you wouldn't want to see that with your kids, so.
Yeah, they'd gone like a Event Horizon or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, and as watching it, I was thinking, speaking of music, it's like I'm missing the whole Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was looking for that thrash metal to come in.
Yep.
Yeah, that was something that I kind of wish they'd done more with. Like, they didn't do a lot of like combating alien demons or anything like that. That would have been fun to see.
Yeah, it did feel kind of stretched out to fit the two episodes, and the reason that is because originally this was going to be a one-parter, and apparently it was going to be even more expensive than the Children of the Gods pilot was. So in order to justify the expense, they had to cut it into 2 episodes, and so they wrote the second part, hastily, and which is why we'll talk about that next episode, which is why a lot of that kind of seems like filler, is because it probably was to justify the expense of the sets and yeah.
But I have a feeling though that if this had been the one-parter, it would have been a very, very packed one-parter.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been. It was like one of these stories where like they had an episode and a half worth of story.
Right.
And so what do you do with it? You cut half an episode and pack it all in, or you expand it to 2 episodes and just add filler. And so, I think this was one of these episodes where the better choice was to do the filler.
Yeah.
And if it had been one episode, we would have had Jack going, that would have been a great 2-parter.
Yeah.
You put too much
Exactly.
in one. You should have given us more.
Yeah, they could have gotten away with it if they'd cut out like all of like the memory, like, you know, the device and accessing the memories and stuff. It doesn't add too much to the plot in this episode, and certainly not much in the next one. So, you know, there was another way. The big reveal is that Jolinar, you know, had a thing with Bynnar, the garbage pail kid looking warden of the. It's not fair, but no, I mean, it's too bad he couldn't have been played by Tor Johnson, who did all those Ed Wood movies, you know, because it would have been a great part for Tor Johnson, you know, played Lobo and everything. But they really don't do too much with Bynnar. He's like kind of there, and then all of a sudden, like he's like shot in the back, and you know, you know, justice for Bynnar. We needed more of him.
You know what? I think Jolinar got plenty of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was some creepy, you know, like licking, and I don't know. It was not an easy scene to watch.
He could have been like,
no.
I am not an animal. Like the Elephant Man. Just misunderstood.
I feel like with Bynnar, he was there so little and he looked so indistinct from the rest of the henchmen that for part of the episode, I wasn't sure if he was the leader or if Apophis in disguise was the leader, because he seemed much more in that role than Bynnar did. Bynnar just seemed like, hey, I'm just chilling here and living my best life. Like, he did not seem particularly intimidating.
Yeah.
And Apophis was playing the first Prime. I mean, he was playing like the Jaffa.
Yeah.
Very cool outfit too. But yeah, and those are some very well-fed henchmen too. For supposedly being on like the Hell Dimension, like it did not interrupt their supply of human growth hormone or whatever they were taking. I mean, they were in really good shape, not malnourished at all. So Sokar must be.
Whenever they filmed this episode and the next one, I think that all the bars in Vancouver were missing their bouncers because they were all in there. You know, like there were a lot of really buff guys in this episode.
And as I say, in one of them that he plays more a role in the next episode was Peter Kent, who was one of Arnold's stunt doubles for much of his movies. You know, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger had a bunch of stunt doubles. Well, he's one of them. And you look at him, it's like, yeah, he's built like Arnold Schwarzenegger was back in the day. No neck, all muscle.
Kind of doing
his character. He was. Yeah. They should have had more of him in there. He should have played Bynnar. I feel like he was much more charismatic than any of the other henchmen were. I feel like that would have worked out better. The few lines he had, he delivered them well.
It made you realize how thin Peter Williams must be compared to, I mean, it made him look, you know, tall and thin.
He's pretty thin.
Of course, it wasn't Peter Williams most of this episode. You know, it was Dion Johnston who actually played Neonac. And it was only Peter Williams in the very last scene, which I said it was a scheduling issue.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's very good as robot Apophis.
Yeah. See, I thought it was more like Phantom of the Opera Apophis.
Yeah, he's not a robot at all. He's not even a cyborg. He just has metal on his face. So I guess he's more like Destro from like G.I. Joe Apophis.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently the sarcophagus couldn't completely heal him.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was done on purpose. Sokar did it as part of his torture.
But see, it makes him more intimidating. Like, it gives him that flair. He's got that metal face shield he can wear now. I feel like it's a good look.
Actually,
better than
he was standing too close to he was standing too close to the Instapot, and it like, you know, there was a rice cooking accident, and like the Instapot like flew at his face. And no, we love our Instapot. They don't blow up. That's the old school pressure cooker. So yeah. This episode brought to you by Instapot. Hopefully, can we do that? No, probably not.
Yeah, no.
But no, and the one thing I'm really upset we don't get in this episode is we don't get like a really long like car ride or cargo ship ride with like Martouf and Jolinar like sitting side by side like silent, and then after like 20 minute Martouf goes like, Bynnar? Really? Bynnar?
Yeah.
And then no, we don't get that. So
no.
We get enough of the cargo ship ride, and
it's a lot quicker the second time. Yeah.
Right. And the descent pods that have inertial dampeners.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's only
Still didn't look very
4.
comfortable.
Kind of reminded me of the Galaxy Quest, like, where they encase them in goo and like shoot them through space. It kind of reminded me of like that almost, but
Yep.
Yeah, it was definitely like that. I did like the 3D model they used for the shuttle, though. Like, it looks good. It holds up.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the FX shots in this and then the next episode really do hold up really well. And we don't get a lot of them, but they kind of make up for the, going back and forth between the two sets on the Hell Moon.
Yeah.
And the mat of the whole scene when they first land, and with the special effects they do put on it, did look really good. I thought it looked really good, really impressive. It looked like what you'd see with lava and fire shooting in the air and stuff like that. It looked like a hellscape. I mean, they did a good job with it, but
Yeah. You don't really get any depth in it, though. You just kind of see the little market street where everyone's just chilling, and then get in the musty old dungeon, which I like that they just go for just a straight up dungeon.
And it's the
special.
pit.
And the pit.
No, the pit of despair. No, it's just the pit.
The pit where they have like. Go ahead.
Like in Parks and Rec, the Chris Pratt character who falls in the pit in the backyard. That's like the plot of the whole first season.
Fill in the pit. Yeah, no, they have the cool backlit skeletons like in the pit too, which made me kind of think it was like one of those like bars or something, But they just have like skeletons in backlit like boxes. Like I don't know how many. They must have used like every red lighting gel in Vancouver for this episode because everything looks like it was filmed, in an Arby's or something under those heat lamps.
Maybe that's where they're getting all that protein. Is they're putting their chicken sandwiches underneath.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, keeping them warm.
I was thinking this set reminded me of, season 6, Metamorphosis with Nearty.
Yeah.
Obviously, that came after, but it's like they just reused a lot of the pit as Nearty's holding cells and everything, only without the red. So, who knows? Maybe when we get there.
I think
we'll do
I
something.
have a feeling that they're pretty good. They were pretty good at reusing sets for generic cave number 3. Well, let's just put some jail bars here. Now it's a cell. It's not just a random cave.
You can get a lot of mileage out of your cave sets. Like Star Trek, we had like 2 or 3. That
Yeah.
and you could tell like they're just move a couple stalactites here, and it'll be a different cave.
Move the camera to a different angle so that it's shooting from this side instead of that side.
Right.
Creative, save some money. I like it.
It would do Jacob Carter again, and he's incapacitated for most of the episode. Kind of just lies there and moans. But fun to see him. I always like his interactions with Sam.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and then they, here Marty shows up and it's like, oh, it's your dad. Oh, no, we think he's going to die. No. We can't really rescue him.
Yeah.
I mean,
so why did we come here in the first
Yeah.
place then,
But yet they have those healing Visine drops, right? That they give him some like Visine or something and through his mouth. And it's like, this will help him a little bit. And then they forget like about that. And it's just like, he's just like, my social security or whatever. So
it reminded me of remember the little wax bottles, the little Coke bottles that were the wax things with the syrup inside
the
there.
horrible
that you chew
syrup.
on? That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worst.
I think the idea was that you would then you would chew it with the syrup and it was like kind of like cheap gum because you were chewing the wax.
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
That was the whole point. Yeah. It was basically the flavor for the gum, the wax gum.
Mm-mm.
Sugar syrup and wax.
Bad marketing. I miss that.
Yeah.
Drank it and threw it away.
I remember those like in the early 2000s, but that was probably the tail end of
Yeah.
those were around.
This episode brought to you by Wax Gum. When you can't afford real gum, Wax Gum.
Yeah. When you got your fake wax mouth, your wax teeth.
I do. Yeah.
Yep.
You can get it right next to the circus peanuts candy.
Oh yeah.
I like those.
I do too. Oh yeah. Don't see them very often anymore, but
No.
You go to a gas station in the South.
oh sure.
We do get Chekhov's ring transporter in this. Where we very cool to say, oh wait, somebody left the moon and went to the planet. Oh, they have rings transporters and stuff. So that was very cool. Plays an integral part in the plot here and in the next episode as well.
I do like where the controls are hidden, like in that weird little diamond thing in the backdrop.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very Skeletor. I feel like it's something you'd have in Castle Grayskull.
It is.
Yeah.
They just needed like a biometric safe where they could just like run up and like put someone's thumb on it, and would have been saved them a lot of time.
Yeah, it's too high tech.
Yeah.
Eye scanner, you know.
Yeah.
What'd you think about Sokar's, like his nails and him, that choice they made, that he had these long fingernails and you see him like stroking the fire. And I kept thinking, you're going to burn your nails. And it was such an odd,
It is.
creepy.
Hopefully they weren't acrylics, right?
Yeah.
It was just such an odd choice, but I guess it worked because it irritated me and creeped me
Yeah.
out. So
Well,
I guess if you're
his
playing the devil,
whole-
right?
His whole makeup and everything was just weird. His eyes and his skin and
He had those blue
his
veins.
nails.
Yeah.
running
So
down his face.
I was going to talk about this next episode, but like, so the Goa'uld can take anybody they want as a host. It can be like the fittest, healthiest, youngest person, most desirable person. They could just say, I want that to be my vessel. And I'm just going to take them. And then I'm going to. And so Sokar is like, bring me like a 28-year-old goth guy. And it'd be great if like he had like some veins on his face or something. And that's who I want to spend.
albino.
Yeah. And that's who I want to spend. Like, just go to like, wherever the goth people are in Seattle now or whatever. And just like find me the sickliest looking one you can find. And that's who he chose to like represent him for eternity. But I guess I don't know, to each their reach, I guess. But I don't know.
I like it because it differentiates him from the other Goa'uld. Like, instead of being this big, intimidating warrior, he's this creepy, kind of gross dude. And
Well, he's kind of a manipulator. I mean, that's kind of how they portrayed him. Is he's more of a manipulator than most of the other Goa'uld are. Most of the other Goa'ulds are just standing there, Jaffa Kree, Jaffa Kree.
He's and he's like, I know I look this way on purpose. I totally do. And he's much better as Anubis.
I like this look.
When we
it reminded me of in the way that the devil was portrayed in the Passion of the Christ movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was that same kind of thing,
Very
which
similar.
is funny because he's also that's the persona he took on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if Mel Gibson watched some Stargate before he started working on the screenplay. But
Let's go with
Who
that.
knows?
That's
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah.
He's David Palfy. He also plays Anubis later on.
Mhm.
And his makeup for that is even more convincing, we should say, because we never actually see him beneath the mask.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of fun. We're at season 3, halfway in, and their Goa'ulds are getting a little more interesting, right?
Yeah.
We just had Apophis. We just had the kind of a stereotypical bad guy. I don't have any real motivation. I just want to be a bad guy,
Yeah.
And they're really developing them as we go. And it's just, we have,
Oh yeah.
except for Anubis, but we do have some fun.
Yeah. Well, it's. I like there's the scene where Hammond SG-1 and Hammond and Martoof are talking about him, and Martoof was talking about how evil that Sokar is, and Hammond's like, well, why is he that much worse? Daniel's response, well, of all the gods he picked to impersonate, he chose the devil. And that shows kind of the person, again, he's got a personality where he's not just the, I'm your god, you will bow to me, and I'm going to be big and imposing, but not actually do anything type of personality,
And it almost makes more sense with the psychology of the Goa'uld we've seen so far, where he prefers to be pulling the strings, but having everyone else do his dirty work, and so you don't even see him up until this.
Yep.
Even then, he doesn't really do much. He just orders people around. I was almost expecting him to be in like a big, like a leatherback chair and turn around and be stroking a big white cat.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe he gave off.
Well, we could talk more about his
Mr. Bond.
we could talk more about his machinations in the next episode. Save some of that for
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, the hardest part of this whole episode was Martoof and the entire premise where he brings him to this planet to rescue Jacob, and then he kind of just welches on everything, is more of a burden to them than a help
Yeah.
the entire episode.
Yeah.
The
Well, you
whiny
get-
little
you get-
thing.
Yeah. And you get Jack who says, I really don't like surprises. And Martouf doesn't tell him anything. And then the surprise shows up.
Yeah.
What did I tell you about surprises? You know, and it's just like, okay, that should have been a hint to you, dude. You need to tell them everything you know about this.
Yeah.
Well, no. But, you know, as we discover and as we kind of learned and discover, that is kind of Tok'ra mentality, right?
Mhm.
Like, we're so much more important than you. We're better than you. You're a little thing. We don't really need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, simple things like, oh, there's no Stargate on this planet, so we have to fly over. Okay, no problem. Oh, but we can't land the ship because the atmosphere will eat the ship up and it'll crash. So we have to crash land instead. Why didn't you tell us about the part about having to arrive on ship in the first place?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a thing called a briefing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Teal'c has to stay on the ship, and yeah, you can't take weapons. Yeah, it's
But the communicator worked.
it did.
They dodged that trope. The communicator actually worked, except when they were going through atmosphere, which, you know, that's normal. Expect that.
Yeah.
That was a shock, right? That it actually worked because they get on the planet and you're thinking that's not gonna work either. Like, you know, you're just
Yeah, that was my
thinking,
thought.
what else?
Hey, Teal'c, you there?
Yeah.
Crackle. And I love it. It still made the same click
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
as the regular Earth walkie-talkies. Click.
Breaker
Tilt your hair,
19
click.
for radio check.
Yeah.
Teal'c, you got your ears on? Good, buddy. I do, good,
Bother to
buddy.
change.
The little BJ in the air. While we're at it.
Yeah.
I almost wonder, like, that they recorded the sound, expecting it to be the standard Earth communicators, and said, "Hey, we've got this thing we can make into a communicator."
Yeah. We got
Well,
Smokey
like
throwing us in the pit here, so we got a county mountie full-grown bear. Better drop the hammer and get on out of here.
Get some Teal'c playing some
Yeah.
better songs.
We got this big old convoy.
As Victor, you mentioned the whole nose hair trimmer thing.
Yes.
Which is what it actually was, evidently, was a nose hair trimmer.
They're a little bit sleeker
That's
now, but yeah, it was a Philips
Yeah.
Norelco. Yeah, very effective model. And if you're a gentleman of a certain age, I can really encourage you to invest in such a device.
So it made me
This episode is not sponsored by Instant Pot or Philips.
or wax gum.
Or wax gum.
Nope.
So it made me wonder, what's that communications thing that clicks, right? It was like some kid toy they had laying
Yeah.
around, right? Remember the ones you'd talk into and it played out over your, it's not a boom box,
I was-
before
well, I
boom
was-
boxes, right?
I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out if it was something they repurposed from some other episode where it was just like a rock. It's like, hey, this looks like maybe something you can hold in your hand.
Yeah, we're still a ways away from the communication stones, but it was like a precursor to the communication stones. Yeah.
It is interesting to see on these older shows, like if you look at the props from Next Generation or shows like of this era, like Stargate, up close, they look like absolute garbage. Like it's literally just like a piece of like rough plastic with stickers on it. It's like you see like the like the tricorders or like the communicators or the guns in Stargate, and they look horrible up close. So like all the fan-made props for conventions look way better than the real ones ever did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
life before 3D printing, when everything was just grip tape wrapped around, a dowel or something. Yeah.
Well, and it didn't
Life
matter.
before high definition TV.
Yeah.
Life before high definition
Right.
TV.
It didn't matter because you
know-
couldn't tell, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was, you talk about some of these old series. Yeah, the TVs were not that clear, so they could get away with a prop that looked like crap from 5 feet away.
Yeah.
Because that's the closest you're going to get to it, at least in seeing it.
And your TV was
funny,
only a 20-inch, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we had a 32-inch by
Oh,
the time
wow.
of this.
Yeah.
We spent big
Yeah.
bucks.
I mean, we were still gathered around the radio to listen to Stargate at the time these originally aired. Sponsored by Chesterfield cigarettes, the whole deal. I think that's our fourth or
And we're
fifth.
enjoying this week's SG-1.
Planet Me Too.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 doctors recommend smoking Chesterfield cigarettes. Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you.
Sponsored
Yeah.
by Chesterfield. Yeah. But no, I like that. I like the charm of the just slapping together and kit bashing props. I feel like 3D printers have made things look better, but you kind of lose that
Yeah.
fun. Like I know even in Phantom Menace, which was a really high budget movie, the Jedi communicators I think were like a women's razor with some things
Yeah.
glued onto it. So
Yeah. Or you mentioned kit bashing, and like, yeah, the original Borg cubes in Star Trek were literally just like the model kit sheets just like glued together, like, to form a cube and stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that fit with the Borg because that's what the ships were actually made out of, was just, parts of other ships and stuff. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of ships, second time to see a Teltac.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I want a computer mouse that's shaped like that. It could be a good ergonomic shape.
I think I have one
used to
around
a
here.
Microsoft one that kind of looked like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a Teltac model or a Teltac mouse?
I have a Teltac mouse someplace, but my desk is too messy. Sorry, folks. This makes for great audio only podcast. You want to look around?
As you can see on the podcast, Victor is digging around.
I got a new Switch controller that looks like Mario, but that's not the same thing.
So Victor, when it's Jack's birthday, now you know what to send him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teal'c gets relegated to dude who sits in cockpit.
Yeah.
For both of these episodes. He didn't really have anything to do.
Well, he had something to do in the second episode. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that next.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even then, there wasn't enough Teal'c.
No.
Not enough Teal'c, too much Martu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although
That should have been Martu. That should have been done.
Yeah. This episode did give me a line, though, that I've been able to use on my kids quite a bit since I first heard it. So whenever they approach me, it's morning, I'm still waking up, I just tell them, I do not have time to hear of the suffering of the damned on this day. Which is what Sokar tells to Bainar. I do not have time to hear the sufferings of the damned on this day. Yeah.
I have teens. That will come in handy.
Yeah.
He really should have gotten Ozzy Osbourne to guest in this episode.
You would make a good Sokar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He would have just been yelling, Sharon.
Kind of brought his own white pancake makeup.
Victor, you haven't even mentioned yet that the two bad guys here were both bald.
They were. I did feel very
choice
seen
that
in
was
this
for you.
episode. Yeah. Yeah. I did like that.
You
Yeah.
often stroke candles, Victor.
Yeah.
Oh, fingernails.
You want to have fingernails?
Now you know what to be for Halloween, right?
Yeah. You have a kind face. Yeah. But yeah, poor Bainar. His only crime was that he loved too much.
No.
Yeah, he was.
Oh no.
Yeah. It was an uncomfortable scene, especially
Yeah.
because they decided to do part of it like first person POV.
Yeah.
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 They just cut straight to it. I'm like, nope.
And it.
Yeah, if they did this,
Well, you
if
had
they
to
did this show
understand
now,
Jolinar's
it would have been a
suffering,
lot
right?
more explicit,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so I was kind of grateful that they kept it like, kind of implied, but yet still icky enough that like, but now, I mean, if they did it now, it would have just totally been like, okay, like I'm not watching this show anymore. This is like Outlander or whatever. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, you couldn't have watched it with your family, and they
Yeah, it's-
managed to keep it creepy and icky, and it's hell, but family friendly.
yeah,
Yeah. Family friendly hell.
free hot dogs for the kids.
The tunnel of
Yeah.
love, whatever.
Right. But you're right, Jack. I hadn't thought about that first person point of view. It's just really ups the. I mean, think about it. Peter DeLuise managed to creep us out and made it all icky, and we understood Jolinar's true suffering without really showing us much besides the guy's face.
What happens on Nitu stays on Nitu. That's,
Oh, speaking of, did anyone spot him? Peter DeLuise, was he his cameo?
I think I heard him
I've never
next
seen him.
episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah, I
remember
didn't
seeing
see
him, but
there. I was looking.
Maybe he was one of the damned.
I think he probably was. He was probably one of the people like that first showed up when SG-1 walked
Yeah.
in. Hi, we're looking for Bainar. You know him?
Damn number 4.
Right.
I went to hell and all I got was this T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fun episode. It definitely had that cheese factor, which I feel like Stargate does really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, if you look at IMDb, one of the guys credited on this episode, his character name is Hell Dweller.
Oh. Oh, yeah.
Hell dweller.
Metal band.
He's the man with the hellish touch. All right, that's my Shirley Bassey impression there, I think.
Was it the Lovin' Brothers?
Yeah.
Is it Hell is for Real? That album?
I thought that was a Kevin Sorbo movie.
Country albums. It's probably that.
Yeah.
No, it's yeah, no.
Hell is not
If
dead.
you see the movie, it feels more like that.
Well, yeah, okay, that is the opposite. Yeah, sorry.
Anyways,
Heaven is real, kids. But yes.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on
So,
that.
we should probably at least mention that yes, there was some character development of Sam, especially in her relationship with her dad.
Mhm, yeah.
Should at least make sure to mention that we saw
We get a little bit
when she first found out that her mom had died.
That's right.
In this
Yeah.
accident.
Mhm.
And which gets filled out more next episode, but we kind of just went, yeah, there's some memory stuff and walked past it, but we should at least mention it.
Yeah, because they really pick up that much more
Yeah.
in the following episode. That's where that'll.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull a Peter DeLuise here and stretch this out to 2 episodes. So we
Well, I think we're kind of at the
Yeah.
point now
Yeah.
where maybe we can to be continued.
Well, as
Dun,
in
dun,
this one, we
dun.
did learn with the memories that she could feel the pain, which
Yeah.
I don't think we really got that from
Oh.
Hathor used the memory device,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there's Martooth like, oh, let me just turn it down a little.
yeah.
Cause you pain.
Oh, sorry, I said it at 8. Let me turn it back down to 5. That might be
Oops.
better, right?
Oh,
It's like-
you get tortured. Oh, and you felt that? Oh, my bad.
It's like the dad to be watching the little contraction monitor and saying, "Okay, honey, this one's going to be a big one. Oh, get ready. This one's really peaking up on the chart." Yeah. Yeah.
Just drives home is creepy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I can tell you, I wasn't really a Martooth fan here.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Y'all have any other thoughts on this episode?
Nope, to be continued.
Right.
Yeah. Pick up again soon. And before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Stargate, including Sarah S., Patrick M., Don B., Jonathan S., and John E. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Be sure to follow the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. And to find previous episodes of Secrets of Stargate and to send feedback, please visit sqpn.com/Stargate. And you can email us at stargate@sqpn.com or follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter at SQPN. And be sure to join our new SQPN Discord at sqpn.com/Discord. And we'll be back next time when we'll be discussing the next episode of SG-1, The Devil You Know. Until then, Father Cory, thank you for joining me and sharing the Secrets of Stargate.
Thank you, Jack.
And Lisa Jones, thank you as well.
Thanks, Jack.
And Victor Lambs, thank you too.
Thanks, Jack. Justice for Binar.
Justice for Bino. Once again, I'm Jack Baruzzini. Thank you for joining me and sharing the Secrets of Stargate on StarQuest.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?